Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak. And I want to say Shalom to Yakim Nakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And this is a little short one here, doing the random Bible verse from Daily Verses, and I happened to come across this one, and I said, you know what, it's a good little quick topic, right? Now, it's Matthew 5 and 34 through 35 that comes up, and we're going to explain a little bit more about that. Let me just hold up. Let's see. Another scripture I wanted to grab. That might be the one. All right. But let's read it here. So it reads, so what this lesson's about, I don't have a title for it yet, but, you know, it'll be something along the lines of, not swearing, or making basically like false vows, or saying things like on God and do things like that, right? So I'm gonna have to, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, I'll try to figure out a title for that. That's not just all over the place, but that's really what this lesson's about, right? You have a lot of people that'll say, oh, I swear, right? Or, the big thing with Jake is they say, no, on God, right? And they're always, and saying on God is really wrong for multiple reasons, because really you're trying to place all of your wrongness on the Lord. That's what you're doing, and really it's a lie. All right, that's the prime. It's a lie, and then on top of that, well, that's really the main reason it's a lie, and that's really what we're talking about today too. Is a lot of it's just a lie. When you say you swear, first of all, when you swear, swearing is like making a vow, and you're only supposed to make a vow to the Lord, and you're supposed to do it in the right way, right? But a lot of the time, people make these vows, and they're not even hastily made vows. They're just false vows, okay? And that's what these scriptures are warning about. It's just saying, you really making a vow to get themselves out of some quick trouble, all right? And we're going to get into that. But we're going to start up with this one, because this is the random Bible verse that popped up and really inspired the lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. So here it is. It reads, this is Matthew 5 and 34 through 35. It reads, "But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Yahweh's throne, not by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king." So this does not mean that you cannot make a vow, all right, unto Yahweh Shai. Now, if you look in the NIV, it says, do not swear an oath at all. Okay, do not swear an oath at all. Now, again, oaths are different than vows, really, if you want to get down to it. What makes a vow different than an oath? Okay, it says a vow is a sacred or personal promise made to a higher power, person, or oneself. An oath is a formal sworn statement or commitment made to an authority or the public. Okay, often invoking a divine witness or the law to guarantee truthfulness. For example, swearing an oath. One of the things that they'll have you do in a court of law is they'll essentially make you take an oath, all right, a truth oath. And one of the things they make you do in that oath is swear on the Bible. Okay, and that's wrong. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be making all these worldly oaths. For example, a lot of these secret societies, all that is oath-based. All right, they took an oath. Okay, a formal sworn statement of commitment. All right, made to an authority. Basically, they're binding themselves. You made an oath. All right, a pact. With these individuals, which is it's not a biblical oath. It's not a vow. It's not a sacred oath. Okay, it's not something made between you and the Lord. It's something a worldly individual made with other worldly individuals for worldly reasons primarily. All right, so let's go on the key difference. It says the target audience. A vow is directed towards a deity. In this case, it's Yahweh Shai. It says a partner or your own conscience. Now, in this case, we're dealing with today, what we're talking about is biblical, so a vow is directed towards Yahweh Shemi Shai. A witness, the witness, it says an oath invokes a higher authority, so you could be invoking the Lord, right? Or the state as a witness, or as God is my witness, right? They usually say that, right? To hold you accountable. A vow relies on personal honor, morality, or spiritual devotion. See why a vow is that relies on Yahweh Shemi Shai. That is between you and the Lord. It's not between you and men or some weird, matter that's not pertaining to the Lord. It's just, it can be anything, all right? A lot of people take oaths for random shit, and they do it in that way that you're not supposed to be doing it, okay? They'll have you swear on a Bible. You're not supposed to be swearing on the Bible, all right? Going back into it, it says right there, it says, swear not at all, neither by heaven. I swear to God. I swear on God. I swear, on the Bible. I swear. You're not supposed to be doing that, okay? Nor by the earth. I swear on the ground that I walk on. You're not supposed to be doing that, right? Neither by Jerusalem. Now, you don't see that particularly a lot, but it can happen. It says, for it is the city of the great king. So I swear on the God, swear on all God's green earth and the ground that I walk on. I swear to God. You're not supposed to be doing all that, all right? And really, the other reason why you're not supposed to be doing it, first of all, it's not right. It's out of order, all right? And the Lord lets us know that we should be doing everything decently and in order, as the scriptures say. But a lot of the time, it's because you're lying. It's because you're lying. It's not really a real. It's not. First of all, it's not even a real vow. It's not even a real true oath, right? It's cap, as Jake would say. It's bullshit, and you're usually doing it. There's another scripture. Let's see. This is the same scripture, but there's another one. It says, let's continue on, because I think it's Matt. It might be James. No. Yeah, it's in Matthew 5:33, but we're gonna continue on in Matthew 5:24 again, because that was just one. That was just a random scripture that came up. I wanted to go further than that, so we're going down to 37. So I'm gonna read it again, Matthew 5:34 through 37. It says, "But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Yahweh's throne." Okay, if you look at the NLT, it says, "But I say, do not make any vows." Well, see, they're kind of going off with that because it's not a vow that it's talking about. It's more so of an oath or a swearing. All right. See, the Ant Bible got it right with an oath. See, the NLT can go off, because there is a difference between vows and oath. You're allowed to make vows unto the Lord. You just got to make sure they're not hastily done. Because again, but I'm not gonna get too much into that, because again, there's I'm not sure on the implications. You really don't want to break a vow. I mean, the Lord can, the Lord can forgive you. It's anything's within the Lord's power, but you really don't want to be going and breaking a vow. Now, if there was a vow that you did that you couldn't possibly keep, or it's something you made in haste, again, that's really between you and the Lord, because that a vow is between you and the Lord. But vows are very serious matters. Right? Vows are very serious matters, and you really don't want to break them. That's why you want to make sure you don't make a vow that's like a foolish vow, a hastily made vow that you're not going to be able to keep. All right? I've done some of those before. It's when you come in to this truth, you make some vows that you really don't understand the full capacity of what a vow is. All right? Well, to be fair, when we first come in, we all make a vow. All right, it's all a vow, and it's not really a spoken vow. It's a vow that we do by coming into this truth, that you're not going to leave this truth, and this is where you're at now. Okay, and that's like an unspoken vow. That is a vow that's done just by understanding the scriptures and reading, and understanding this truth and having a good understanding of it. Because as we know, if you come into this truth and then you leave it, All right, it'd have been better if you would have never even known this truth, all right, than to come into it and then, basically just turn your back on the Lord. But if we get slacking, bear with me just one moment. Hold up, slacking. Slacking. But if we go, we can actually go and get it. Right here. This is 2 Peter 2:21. This is a scripture I was, speaking of. It says 2 Peter 2:21. It says, for it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it, coming to this truth and getting this understanding, right, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. Why? Because these individuals that never knew the way of righteousness, they never knew it. All right, they didn't know really right from wrong. I mean, they're still guilty. All right, they're still sinning, so the wages of sin are death. But to come in, have that revelation of knowing all these different things, and then saying, I don't believe in that, and then basically turn your back on not God, not Jesus Christ, but Yahweh Shema Shai, man, you're done. There's no way you can come back from that. But so that's essentially a vow that we do enter into when we come into this truth, right? But there are certain things when you come in, a lot of people make these hasty vows, all right? And again, it's not really, you're supposed to make good on your vow, man. You're supposed to make good on your vow. But at the end of the day, we're not Yahweh Shema Shai. So, if the Lord's going to have mercy on you, and he's going to have mercy on you, if, he knew that was a hastily made vow that, you couldn't keep, or, believe that your heart was pure in some way, shape, or form, he of course, it's the Lord's rules, but in general, that's not something that you want to, go back on, right? Like I said, I've done it, all right, unfortunately. There's certain vows when you come in, you make these, you don't really understand the capacity of a vow. You don't understand the meaning of a vow. You don't understand the seriousness of a vow. It's not just, I can't really explain it. It's not something that's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's more formal. It's very serious. Okay, but if you do get off track on it, it's the best thing to do is just try to get back on, pray for forgiveness, ask Yahweh Shema Shai to forgive you, and try to get back on track of it. If it's something you really 100% can't keep, you can't really do anything about that. You're gonna have to, pray to Yahweh Shema Shai and beg him for forgiveness and mercy, and just talk to the Lord, right? And give your apology up, all right, and sincerity, all right. He knows at the end of the day, all right, if it was a foolishly made vow or not, right? But again, I'm not going to talk too much about that, because a vow is essentially a very, very solemn promise that you make with the Lord. That's essentially what it is, and they're between you and the Lord. You don't really tell other people what your vow is. You don't really go, I made this vow and this vow and this vow. No, you don't really do all that. You can mention, oh yeah, I made a couple vows or something like that, but really even that, it's really nobody's business at the end of the day if you have made or have not made any vows to the Lord, because again, vows are between you and the Lord. And that's essentially what a vow is. To simplify it down, it's a promise to the Lord from you, right? That's what it is. So obviously, you don't want to break your promises, right? But again, like I said, I'm not going to condone anything, but we are in the flesh, so sometimes, things happen. I mean, you just got to try your best, right? That's the thing. We are in this not to be perfect, all right? We'd like to be perfect, but we can't be perfect, okay? But we can try to the best of our ability, okay? So you got to hold those vows to the best of your ability, keep the laws to the best of your ability, all right? And do what you can to the best of your ability, Okay, again, heavy on the emphasis on best of your ability, because we're not super Hebrews. We can't do everything of our own. We have to have Yahweh Shema Shai to come and rescue us, because, you know, we're our bodies are, we're in the sinful flesh, man. Okay, but we do have to still try to make an effort. It's not an excuse, because a lot of people hear these things and they say, oh, well, you know, we're not under the law, so I'm just going to do it. Well, yeah, the wages of sin are still death, though. So, but at the end of the day, you do you, man. You do you. But Matthew 5 and 34 through 37, jumping down, well, we'll start up back from 34. It says, but I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is Yahweh's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these come evil. Right, 37 right there says, in the NLT it says, just a simple yes I will or no I won't. Anything beyond this is from the evil one. So what this is basically talking about is, just let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. Are you going to do it? Yes. Are you going to do it? No. Okay. Are you going to do it? Yes, I swear to God I'm going to do it. No, you don't need to do all that. Okay. That's you know, that's an evil thing. You shouldn't be doing that. It's, you know, you're just not supposed to be doing it. Why? Because you're not supposed to be doing it. The Lord said don't do it, so don't do it. Okay, because it's really taking all, what you're trying to do, essentially, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to take all accountability off of you, especially when people say, on God, or on my mama, or on bro, on Fokenham. You're trying to take off all the accountability of yourself, and you're trying to put it on another individual, right? Which already is fucked up enough, but then say something like on God, like you're trying to put all, like any repercussion that would happen to you, you're trying to put that on the Lord. Right, which is just wicked. And again, a lot of the time it just goes back to lying. It just goes back to lying, because you don't, it's not really, you don't really believe on God or putting on them. You're just lying. All right, you're telling, yo, you gonna get me back with that 20? Yeah, bro, on God. You know damn well you ain't gonna get him back, man. So not only are you lying, you're doing it on the Lord, which is especially wicked. So Proverbs 14 and 5 says, a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. So, you know, if it was something, you know, or did you see him do it? Yeah, on God. All right, or try to make something up. All right, well, a faithful witness would not lie. Okay, a false witness will utter lies, and one of those false things, like yeah, on God. It's a lie. Most of the time, it's on a lie. Every time you hear Jake say on God, it ain't something real. It ain't something factual. It's just it's a fucking lie. Right? So, let's get Leviticus 19:11. It says, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another. So, when you say, oh yeah, I'm going to get you back on God. Well, that's, you know, like it says in NLT, do not steal, do not deceive, or cheat one another. So, you're essentially deceiving and cheating them out. Right? The Amp Bible I like especially, it says, you shall not steal nor deal deceptively nor lie to one another. And when you're saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you on God, you're dealing deceptively, you're lying, right? And in this case, in that example that I gave, you'd be stealing as well from that person. So, but that's, you know, that's something that's glorified. It's ridiculousness, but you know, what can you do? Jake ain't gonna learn. This is Colossians 3:9. It says, lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds. Well, you should have. NLT, don't lie to each other, for you have stripped off your old sinful nature and all its wicked deeds. At least you should have. That's those for the lying, the scriptures about lying that I had written down. But let's get Matthew 5 and 33. It says, again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shall perform unto the Lord thine oaths. So there you go. See, the oaths unto the Lord is different than an oath unto man. A vow unto the Lord is different than you can't really make a vow like that unto a man. It's more like an oath to man, but you can make them to Yahweh Shema Shai, but they got to be done, decently and in order. Teaching about vows right here at subheading. Teaching about vows. You have also heard that our ancestors were told, you must not break your vows. You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord. Again, that's how it should be done. Okay, that's how it should be done. Again, we can't keep the law 100%, but the Lord knows what you are and what you aren't capable of. Again, if you made a vow like, I'll never drink water again, I mean, that's stupid, right? That's dumb. You shouldn't make vows like that, or vows that you know you're unable to keep, right? That's not something you should be doing. But sometimes it happens, right? It does happen. And I think the only thing you can do is pray and apologize. That's the only thing you can do. That, like, you don't really have much of another choice. You know, it's not. There's no one else that can help you out of that situation. You just got to pray to Yahweh Shem Shai. Hope He forgives you, and hope, right, that He has mercy on you and lets you up out of that promise that you tried to promise for something foolish, right? That you really had no business trying to make a promise out of in the first place, right? But that's the only thing you can do. No man can help you out of that. It's a promise. It was a promise between you and the Lord, and it stays between you and the Lord. And the only one that can help you out of that is the Lord, and have mercy on you for that is the Lord. So it's all between you and the Lord, but you're not supposed to be breaking vows. Okay. Again, I've done it, right? It's not. It makes you feel like shit. It's not ideal. You don't want to do it. But again, I mean, that's why it's really best to learn as soon as you can when you come in this truth about how serious a vow is, and you shouldn't really just be throwing vows around, doing all these, I vow for this, I vow for this, I vow for this, because you don't want to be having these vows that you can't keep, you know, because, you know, you can hope and pray the Lord has mercy on you and Lord willing lets you out of that, because he could also kill you for it, you know. It is deadly serious. So that's why, you know, with vows, you really, you know, if there's something like that, you can hope, and you just gotta hope and pray to the Lord, hey, and you wouldn't say, hey, not that informal, but please, Lord, you know, I made this foolish vow, you know, and just pray and apologize and repent for it, and, you know, beg that He have mercy on you from that vow. And I mean, because I mean, it's just, you know, if it's something that, you know, you can make an attempt at, I mean, I'd still try to go ahead and make the attempt at it, and just, you know, ask the Lord to forgive you from your shortcomings on it, right? And just try to the best of your ability. That's all the advice I can give you on that, right? But again, these are vows. I can't say, oh, I've never done it, because I have, unfortunately, you know, broken vows before, because, you know, again, I'm not going to go in the whole detail about that, but again, there's things when you first come to the truth, you do hastily. You didn't really think about any of the implications or any of those things, but it does make you feel like shit, and it makes you fearful, as it should. And you don't want to break promises to the Lord. All right, you wouldn't want to break a promise to a friend. So why would you want to break promise to, you know, your best friend? All right, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, Father and Son. So think about it, man. Think about it. It's like breaking a vow on a higher level even than this, but it's like breaking a promise that you made to your father and your best friend. You know, it makes you feel dirty and disgusting, and it should, all right, and it should. This is the NRSVU, subheading concerning oaths. It says, again, you have heard that it was said of those to those of ancient times, you shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord. Right? There's another thing. Oh yeah, I swear I'm going to do it. No, you can't. That's a false swear. You didn't really mean it. Right? That's another thing you got to watch out. Not really meaning your vow. Okay? Because again, there's two different things. You know, when you come in this truth, you might really mean it. You just don't understand the implication of it, that you really can't keep that vow. Other people will swear a false vow. Okay, and that's off as well. So there's just a bunch of different things, right? So the Ant Bible, it says, again, you have heard that it was said to the men of old, you shall not make false vows, but you shall fulfill your vows to the Lord as a religious duty. And it is your duty. That's the whole point of a promise, right? So, but again, I have to give you that upfront information that I wasn't perfect and I've had issues, because if I didn't, I'd be a hypocrite, right? But James 5 and 12, and this is where we're going to close out. it says, but like I said, take my testimony in as a heed and as a warning, that when you come in, don't just start making vows that you don't, again, it's your first year, maybe not even your first year, a couple months, you learn about vows and making promises. At that time you're still soaking up the word. You don't really, it's serious, but you don't understand, how serious it is yet. I mean, you've only been in for a couple of months. You haven't learned the seriousness of this truth in this ministry of Yahweh Shem Yahushua yet, right? You don't know how deadly serious it is. So that's definitely not a time you want to wait, all right, and really learn before you start making all these different vows. I mean, you first come in, you've already made one vow. You've already made one vow that I mentioned earlier about, coming in this truth, and you're in, right? You're in. There's no getting out of it, right? I mean, but by death. It's like not to compare it to something wicked like the mafia, man. Once you're in, you ain't getting out. Okay? That's it. All right, and that's how it's on a righteous way with the Lord. Once you're in, you're in. The Lord gave you this information. He, revealed His secrets unto you. You can't just take that information and go out in the world. That's like the CIA. The CIA, you don't just get to go out, all right, with all this information and just, right? You are essentially bound to. Now I know there's whistleblowers. I don't know necessarily how that works with the CIA. But I know there's certain shit, even those whistleblowers, that they are not ever allowed to say, or they'll probably kill their family or something. I don't know, maybe kill them. Killing them is, a lot of those guys don't even worry about that. They're more worried about their family. But I don't know all the things about it, but I know for a fact, regardless, I don't know all of the information, but I know for a fact that organizations like FBI and CIA, because they have documents and shit, when classified shit, you're never ever allowed to talk. It's like I don't know if they make them sign NDAs or what, but I know like if a movie staff are making fucking actors and all these different people sign NDAs, the CIA has definitely got to be having you sign NDA or something like it, some oath, right? Some oath that you take that you won't say certain things. I don't know how certain of these whistleblowers get away with saying things and not dying. I don't know how that works. All right, I'm not sure. But I don't know. Maybe if they killed everybody that was a whistleblower, it would look like they really did have that control. So they don't. I don't know. Just a theory. But I lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's like that. When you leave, right? You can't really leave, right? You're always a part of it, okay? And that's how it is, but it's true. Say if you bug out, you go back in the world, you left, but you didn't really leave all of it entirely, because you still know the Lord. You still not know Him like that, but you still knew of the Lord. You still knew the implications. You know what's going to happen to Babylon, whether you believe it or not now, right? You're not out. Right, you've bugged out, all right, and you've gone back into the world, but you still know more than most people in the world, unless you completely bug out and you lose your mind, you don't know anything anymore. That can happen as well. But these, you're out there, being a degenerate again. You still know if you bucked up, and you'll eventually lose it. But for a while, Well, hell, most of these people even know. The people that dropped out of One West, they still come up, and you see the brothers that are teaching on the highways and byways with the camps. The apostles, the elders. These old, flunkies will show up from time to time, and they still know Babylon's going to be destroyed in some way or another. They might not, get it like, they don't really have the Holy Spirit dealing with them, but they know, they have residual aromas. All right, I can't really explain it. They know something's going on. They just don't know everything now. But there's been guys like that come up to the apostles, and they say, yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right about these things. And they just walk off in the sunset like, that never really happened. That's all they can do now. So, you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be like that. All right, you don't want to be the guy that knows you're not right, that knows, that GMS is right, and then you're just, waiting for destruction at this point. And I don't know how that works. All right, hopefully I'll never understand how that works, or have that feeling to be what it is to be like one of those individuals, because it doesn't really make sense to me because if you know that GMS is right, you know this truth is truth, then, well, not that they can do anything of their own because it's all through Yahweh Shem Shai, but that would be something that would make me want to try to be, getting back in and start teaching and doing some right. But I don't know how that works with them. I don't know. Maybe they just got a guilty conscience and they need to clear it or something. But anyway, that's the lesson. Anything else I want to say before I close out? I'm trying to think. But yeah, I mean, I guess what I'll say is, yeah. So no, don't vow just to be believed by other people. That's why it said, again, James. Did I even read this to its full extent? I can't remember. James 5:12, it says, "But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation." Sorry, another one that I wanted to see for the translation. I mean, all the translations are pretty much on par with what the King James Version says. But yeah, don't vow just to vow to be believed by other people. And that's what a lot of the vowing in the world is. Oh, on God, I put on the Bible. I swear on the Bible. You're just doing that because if other people see you swearing on the Bible, they'll say, oh, well, he must be telling the truth. Well, these people are atheists. They don't believe. Okay, or they're Satanists. They don't really believe in the Bible, so they'll swear on it. Right? But if you don't swear on the Bible, right? Someone like us who won't, all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, we're guilty because we won't do it. No, because we know there's power in it. We know there's power in it, and we're not supposed to be just making vows like that just for what? Because you want us to. We don't make a vow because some other person wants us to. Swear on this Bible. No. Not because you tell me to. No, I'm not supposed to be doing that. The Bible warns against that, right? But these people that are, Satanists and Molekians, whatever you want to call them, Baalians, all right? These people that worship Molech and Baal and all these different false gods and stuff, and Satan, right? They'll do it because they are atheists. They don't care, right? Because the book means nothing to them. So they'll just, I swear on the Bible. All right, cool. Let's get on it so I can continue to lie my ass off all during the trial, right? That's what they do. So, but you're not supposed to be doing that. All right. Hopefully the lesson was edifying with that regard. And again, don't just take vows that, you really need to sit back and think about your vows before you make them. And don't just make hasty vows just to make vows just to make them. It doesn't make any sense. Really think about it. Really think, is it something I will be able to uphold? Maybe, again, just be careful with how you word things too. If you're, you don't have to do a vow. I will 100%, I will try to keep it to the best of my ability. But that's not really like a full vow at the end of the day. A vow is really, 100% in or out on something. But, anyway, that's between you and the Lord. There's many scriptures about vows you can look up and research and do dives into. But that's where we're going to close out for this one, right? So, how long do we end up going? Let's check. About 33 minutes. That's fine. So that's where we're going to close out. Lord, and what was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Shalom. Slack it. Shalom, your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.